Oh boy, here we go again. So many questions for atheists. This time by our friend Jesus Freak. Now, as we all know, Jesus Freak is utterly unable to comprehend any sort of answer to his questions because he keeps persisting in his same misrepresentations of what atheists are. So this isn't actually a response to Jesus Freak. This is just a response to his 12 questions, and I hope that people watching this video will take something out of it. I know Jesus Freak won't. So then, let's start with the first question. That's a completely new question. I've never seen this one before. What would you need in order to become a believer? Give me something to believe in. Give me something that makes sense, that I can take on board and believe in. And I will become a believer in whatever it is you want me to believe in. Why are you an atheist? Because if I look at any of the gods that anybody worships, I see clear evidence that those gods have evolved from earlier human mythology, and they are therefore human creations. And as a result, none of those gods are real, including your God, Jesus Freak. That's why I am an atheist. It doesn't mean that I exclude the possibility that there might be something out there that is somewhat godlike from our perspective, but it certainly isn't your God. Sorry. Why do you think that a belief in deity has permeated almost every society and culture since the dawn of mankind? Because humans have a tendency, as many of our ancestors in the animal world, to look at reality, look at nature, from the perspective of agents interacting with nature. That is a very sound evolutionary strategy, because if you see for example, two shiny objects pointing straight at you, you could just say, that is part of my environment, I don't care. Or you could assume that that is an agent, and specifically a predator looking straight at you. And what would this predator be looking straight at you for? Because it wants to eat you. So you take evasive action, and you live to fight another day and to procreate. That's how thinking in terms of agents has evolved in humanity and basically a lot of mammals. And that is why humans, once they started to think outside the box of their immediate physical needs, started to look for agents in the rest of the world, which of course is a silly thing to do, but then resulted in thinking about a super agent, or as you like to call it, God. And that is why that is so ubiquitous. Having said that, there are some sophisticated religions, much more sophisticated than yours, that do no longer require such deities. Look, for example, at Buddhism. Not that Buddhism is any more reasonable than Christianity, but at least it is a bit more sophisticated than what you are believing in. Why does existentialism make sense to you? Did I say existentialism makes sense to me? Don't put words into people's mouths. Of either faith, Islam or Christianity, which of these two makes the most sense to you? You must pick one. Well, first of all, I have to object to you asking me to pick between two religions that both are based on the concept of a creator God who is personally interested in one's affairs. That makes so little sense to me that having to pick between one and the other is rather a silly thing to ask of me, but I will indulge you. And having said that, I must say Islam makes more sense to me, because at least in the teachings of Islam, the people who believe in that single deity have accepted that nothing other than that deity will be able to judge a person on its merits. So as opposed to you, as a Christian for example, no Muslim, if they really think about what their faith implies, can turn around to me and tell me that I have been condemned by their God, as you are so happy to do. So from that perspective only, Islam makes more sense to me. I sense some surprise there. Have you ever, even for a moment, believed in a God? Well, I suppose I was raised a Catholic, and while I was young and I hadn't really thought of that, I sort of fell back on the default position, after having been indoctrinated, obviously by my parents, of believing in the Roman Catholic version of the Christian God. So I guess that must be a yes. The moment I started actually thinking about these things, I started realizing that there were other people in the world who had other beliefs than me, who believed in different gods than me, and very soon I got to the point where I started realizing that I could not prove that my God was the only true God, any more than they could prove that their God was the only true God, and boom, that was the end of my belief. If you die as an atheist, are you prepared to go to hell? You see, that is exactly why I have so much contempt for people such as you. Because you are sitting there jacking off to the idea that there are people out there who will be punished for eternity. I do not believe in your hell, but I do believe that you find it really amusing that people will be suffering eternally for what they do or don't believe in. That is real. That belief is real. What that does to you as a human being, and how much that causes within your psyche a hatred that I just cannot comprehend for your fellow human beings, that is real. Your hell is a figment of the imagination. But that wasn't your question, of course. You said, if you die as an atheist, are you prepared to go to hell? So assuming that your hell exists, and that it is real, well, I would much rather spend eternity in hell with people that I can respect than having to endure your company in a place that you call heaven. If that is what you're after, and if it makes me somebody remotely like you, then you are welcome to your heaven. I'd much rather suffer in hell forever.